Good afternoon. So this tutorial, I'll be using this opportunity to make a video tutorial to illustrate how to use the PMS management system. So first thing first is the log into the URL that get to the URL that I'll be sharing on this screen or whatever URL that the system or application is being installed. So in my own case, this is being installed on this particular URL, and then you log into the system. So in this case, I'm using this is the database we'll be using, and I have to come in directly here to log in. So this is going to take me to the um, main application or the ERP application. So depending on what I really want to go into, I should be able to navigate into that. So currently here you see I have some few modules based on my administrative role. I can be able to see settings and applications. But when you log in as a normal employee or staff, you're only meant to see this HR PMS and then the employee record. So this is and also the attendances. So this is just basically what you might be seeing. So coming to the next, I'll be going to employee records so we can be able to see how to navigate and see all the employees that we have on the system. So here we can be able to navigate by departments and everything we needed here. So we also added some kind of information like the functional manager, the administrative supervisor, and then the reviewer. So it's assumed that during the performance management system, the reviewer, every employee must have a reviewer. Every employee must also have either an administrative supervisor or a functional manager. So in this case, um, sometimes you might also see an employee that has a functional manager and then there is no administrative supervisor. So let's go and then also see the tabs that we introduced here. We also introduced the employee district, employment date, the unit, and then the subunit or substations, the grade, and the level. So this is where you find all those informations. We also have number of appraisees, queries, warnings, absence, and then comments. Then we also have the attendance management module. So going back to the HR performance management system, once I come here to click on this, I can see all the appraisals that I've done. So for the purpose of this training, I have to delete all this. I have administrative rights, so I could perform this delete operation. So if I go to this configuration under template category, I will have to set up a template. So let's use one of the templates to save time. So I have one of these templates. So I can decide to cancel this or maybe create a new template. So let me create a new template. All right. So this particular template, I'll say senior management template for April period. So this is for the appraisal and this. Then I select my period, which is in quarterly, and then end deadline, maybe 27th. This is the deadline that I really wanted the appraisees to submit their appraisals. So once I set up this, the system keeps track of the deadline date. So coming here, once you see KRA, FC, and LC, I'm talking about the KRA key areas of performance, and then the functional competency, and then the leadership competency. So here, ensure that the sum of all these is equal to 100. So in my own case, I'm using a certain template I got from my manager. So in this case, I'm using this actual template, which is, for instance, I'm configuring that for senior management. I have KRA 35, functional competence 20, and then leadership competency 45. So I'll have to configure this according to my template. So 35, 20, and then 45. So I have to save this. But before I could save this, the system is throwing a validation to tell me that I must at least assign one job role. So what does this mean? You scroll down to the job functions of positions. This is like the job destination of that I really want to be applicable for this appraisal. So I will click on add a line. So I have all my job roles or designations. So what will I do? In my own case, let me use a sample of where I belong. So I can also set up a whole lot. Maybe this is for senior management. I can also add more or select just a few. So what else? I'll come in here to add more line. Let me search for manager role. Use this. So ensure that the roles that you're selecting must have should have a department, else the system will prompt you that the role is not properly configured. So for each role that you are assigning someone, at least the person must it must be linked to a department. So you can see. So whenever you're adding a role and then there is no populated department, then the system will not allow this. So the essence of this is for the system to filter people based on the department, people that belongs to that destination based on the department, and then be able to send this appraisal to them. So under the sections tab, we have add a line option. So once you click on this, we have a predefined sections that we've done. So you can decide to select A, B, and then C. So this is the KRA, the leadership work competence and functional competence sections. So you can decide to create and add more sections, but for now, we are only limited to these three. So what else do we need to know about these sections? For instance, the leadership competency. So we're going to also, you can feel free to configure this leadership competency by adding KBA descriptions. So I can now say ABC test. This is more like you adding kind of like descriptions that people will see in the test. So you can add more lines. So whenever people click on this particular section title, they should be able to view the descriptions. So I will save this. You can add more lines. So currently, currently leadership competency, we just have 5 items. So I'm trying to simulate what we have currently here. All right. So the next one is, so you can also see my Excel sheet to understand what I'm trying to do. So this is the leadership competency. So I'm simulating what we have here. Sorry. So the next thing I'll show is after saving this, you can be able to publish this record. So once I publish this record, it's going to send notifications, mail notifications to all departments that falls in within these job functions and positions. So for every employee that belongs to, for instance, these designations, the system filters their department and then send all this particular template to the department managers. So for instance, um, let's assuming that I am a department manager under ICT. So I will come under this department template once I log in, and you see all the records that I, as the manager of ICT, is meant to publish, to review, and then publish. So I'll come to that. So before this, I'll log out. So I'll be logging in as the ICT department manager. So it's coming up. So once I logged in as ICT department manager, I should be able to see this department template. So you can see all the templates that I'm seeing right now is for ICT department. So you're only meant to see your own record. So these ones have been published. So I'm seeing this as the newest one, which is about to be reviewed. So what I would need to do is to click on this. Of course, if you have email, the system will send this as a notification with the URL link that you open up this particular page we are seeing. So once you click on this, you can edit this to start reviewing. So after you've done reviewing, you can also come in here to add your own KPI analysis, or maybe do some correction based on your department. So for now, we're still actually looking at this. Maybe in case it's not visible or usable, we can lock this to ensure that department managers does not tamper with this. So you set up also the section scale. Of course, this was configured from by the HR officers from the HR department. So you can also decide to change the title based on your own department leadership competency. Currently here, every other information is detailed here. So what will I do? I'll have to click on this publish button. So in this case, the department manager have reviewed this appraisal that was sent to him, and then make sure everything looks fine, or and then publishes this. So upon publication of this, the system sends notifications to the employees under that same department. Then also generates an appraisal form for the employees. So now, if I click on this publish, system is going to go and then publish this template. So if I come to Appraisal, I should be able to see one of the record. So and I am, let's open up this. So it's currently in draft state. So I can be able to see the information of this particular employee. So the information here, this is the appraisee's personal information. This is the current functional appraiser. This is the current administrative appraiser, and then the current reviewer. So in my case, I'm still the person's functional manager and then the reviewer. So in this case, this is one of the three. Some employees doesn't really have supervisor role or administrative appraiser. So what will happen here is that the system, instead of upon submission of this appraisal, the system will not allow me to proceed. Right? The system will not allow me to proceed if I am not the actual person that is meant to modify this record. And then once I submit this button, it will go to the functional appraiser, functional manager, all right, instead of going to the admin supervisor. The reason for this is because the actual employee or staff does not have an administrative appraiser. So that's why. So now I'll come and start, I'll go and log in as Madoka Soplo. So let's go in and log in as Madoka Soplo. So admin, login as admin. So I can actually get the password details of this user I'm using. So for the meantime, I'm going to pause this. All right. So I was able to get the information of this employee. So I'll be logging in as this. It's coming up. Okay, so I've logged in. So what I will do first is I'll go to that appraisal upon receiving notification that my appraisal form has been generated. So I'll see that I have one appraisal pending, which is still in draft. I'll click on this, then you can see the edit button. I'll now scroll down to view all informations, and then under the sections, this is where I might likely be working on. I have to click on the add a line. So depending on what I'm going to fill in, I'll have to say this, then put my weight, maybe 30, and my self rating within the scale of 1 to 4. I'll add other lines, say strategic capability, maybe another 60 or 20. So put a self rating, add more. So maybe just anything that I feel like is part of my KRA achievement. So I'll say 20, 30, then add other ratings. So coming here, I'll have to add more, maybe KRL test. So here, so this will be 20. And now add this. So of course, an invalid scale was provided. System is telling me that self-rating scale should be in the range of 1 to 4. That is for KRA. So I'll say self-rating score is 3. All right, so the next one is the functional competency section. So I'll click on this. All right, so you can see I can't be able to make any ratings on this because I'm not a reviewer. I'm just an employee. So you can see my name here. I'm just employee. So I can also do the leadership competency section. So there are other sections that are meant for the administrative, functional appraiser, and the functional reviewer to be able to key in. So I can't actually tamper with these ones. So my major ratings should be done on the KRA sections. So when I'm done with this, I have to submit. All right. So since I know that my functional appraiser or administrative appraiser and reviewer is Mr. Prashat, that's the head of my department. So what I'll do here is to log out and then log in as Prashat because I can't really do any modification here. Sorry, maybe. All right, so I'm simulating a user called Prashat, who is the functional manager and then also the reviewer of this employee. So when I click on this, I should be able to see the record that was submitted to me by any employee. So I'll be able to see that this is um, at the functional supervisor status stage. So when I click on this, I should be able to start my own rating under sections. Once I click on each line, I can rate, toggle, rate, tab, rate. So one thing is that I can't rate more than this scale. All right. So similar experience like before. So I can rate this. All right. So the total weighted score is being computed upon these inputs. So I'll come down here, start with my own rating. Recall that FA means functional appraiser, AA means administrative appraiser, right? And we have reviewers ratings. So for each sections, just note that you must fill in all the places that you are required to add for the functional appraiser. So notice that the scale of this is 1 to 5. So you must ensure that you didn't exceed or go below that. All right. So I'm done with this. So if there is any training need, I can be able to add technical training. So I can be able to add this and provide comments and then add more line if there is any need. I'll scroll down again to say in terms of overall current assessment and potential assessment. So you can read this to see how to make your ratings. So ordinary, you can read this description, diligent is the description, and then and so forth. So because I am the functional appraiser, I'll come here under my own line to add maybe if I use fantastic. So these are the scale of 1 to 4. Ordinary means 1, this 2, 3, and 4, 5. I mean 1, 2, 3, and 4. So superb is 4. I can come directly here also under potential assessment and then add It's fantastic. All right. So I'm not meant to do this because, yeah, I'm also a reviewer, but I'll come to that section. So here, if there's any quality check, you add a line, date of observation, action required, and then action closed. So I have to save this and then submit this rating. So are you sure you want to submit this rating? You click confirm. Now it goes to the next one, which is the reviewer. Recall that I said if I am not the reviewer of this employee, I shouldn't be able to see the submit review or even do a rating. So, but I'm currently the reviewer, so you can see this under information. So that's why I'll be able to see this submit review. So I'll also go to the section and then start adding my review. Okay, so I can't be able to do any review on KRA sections. So I'll come to the functional competency. That's where I can be able to do that. Come here, two, three. I'm also doing my own rating. All right, so I'll come down. If there is any need for me as a functional reviewer, I'll add what I feel is fine. So here it's fantastic. So you can decide to change every other thing. So I'm done with this. So the reviewer stage or state is the last, almost like the last state of this appraisal. So once I'm done with my own, I can come in here to provide reviewer section, provide some kind of comment, and then under supervisor section, manager section, I can provide all these comments. Also on this particular place, which is the instruction, feel free to read instructions on this tab to see what this particular template is going to be like. So how to do your ratings, so and every other thing. So we'll come to that later on. So if there is anything, I will have to also come to the score information to have an overview of um, the system. All right, so this is the total weight of KRA, FC, and LC. Overall score is 70.64%. Then we have the current assessment score and then the potential assessment score. So we also have a post normalization score, which is at the end of this appraisal, the is a collective affair by the manager, the HR managers, and then the reviewers to sit down and then decide what to give in this post normalization score. So coming back to my sections, everything looks fine. I can decide before submitting this review to maybe increase the ratings I've done for this person, maybe by five under this, and then every other one by five, just to increase his score by five. So you go to the score information, you can see it's at least it's coming up. All right. So once I'm done with this, one I'll have to submit this review, and then it's done. So upon this, a notification is also sent to the employee and then to every other person that is being copied on this, like the functional, the administrative manager, the functional manager, and then the reviewer. Also to the HR officers that this person's appraisal is ready. All right. So it's now done. So the notification is sent across. So at the end of the day, the HR officers or manager will now know what to do using these appraisals and the information that were provided. So it's also being required that the appraisee or the employee will come in here to decide what he felt, maybe likely agreed or partially agreed based on the informations or the ratings that we have been given. So that is the end of this appraisal. Of course, you can also use this for your reporting. In case you want to see people that has the score between 20 to 29 and then people that have between 70 to 79. So you have all these reports coming up and then you can be able to now select and print. All right. You can also export. Then that is the final phase of this appraisal. Feel free to ask me any position. You can also go through the process also again to be able to configure your templates, just like I showed here. Logged in. So after configuration of your templates, it's being forwarded to the department heads. They will also have to publish it to the respective um, employees under their departments. Thank you very much for this.